Hello, students. This is Sunil George, your English teacher, once again presenting the second video of the second poem, An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum, written by Stephen Spender. Like I always tell you, it's important for you to know exactly about the life and work of an author or a poet before you go ahead. Talking about Stephen Spender, he was an English poet and essayist. He left the University College Oxford without taking a degree, and he went to Berlin in 1930. In his childhood, he was quite influenced by the capitalism, and he promoted capitalism wherever he went. Even in his writings, you'll find that it is reflected. But as he grew up, he realized that uh, it has its own flip side, and he was more influenced by the communistic ideas, the communist ideas, and he went around propagating the communist theory. But very soon, he was disillusioned even by those theories, and he felt it's better to become a poet and a writer, and he went around propagating many of his own ideas which he had conceived as he'd grown up, and with all his experiences in his life. So this poem which you're going to read, it's a beautiful poem where he talks about the inequities which the children in the slum areas suffer. To start with, when he says, far, far from gusty waves, this children's faces like rootless weeds. He's comparing these children, these children, poor children, to rootless weeds. And the hair is torn around the pallor. Pallor means the face. They've got disheveled hair. And there's a tall girl, her head is weighed down. She cannot carry the weight of her own head because of malnutrition. Then you have a paper seeming boy with rat's eyes. It's been compared to a rat because a rat is a scavenger, just like these children. They're living off the food of other people. There's another child who's got twisted bones. He's an unlucky heir of his father's disease. He's carrying his father's, he has inherited his father's disease, and he's reciting his lesson from his desk. And at the back of the dim class, there's another sweet little boy who's sitting there in the corner, but he's not actually mentally present in the classroom. He's just looking outside the classroom and is watching the squirrels running up and down the tree. Although the teacher must be teaching in the classroom, but the child is absolutely not interested. He's looking outside and is watching the squirrels. So this is your first stanza, and he talks about, he's described the different kind of students, which are sitting there in the class, all different from each other, all suffering from malnutrition and poverty. Come to the second stanza. On the sour cream walls, donations. Shakespeare's head cloudless it down. You have the painting of a Shakespeare's head made on one of the walls there, and the color of the walls, it's sour cream. It's turned sour cream. Absolutely, it's faded away with time. Patches of discoloration all over the wall, and all around the school classroom. You have the civilized dome, means the tall skyscraper buildings all around the school, and inside, they've made beautiful paintings of the Tyrolese Valley. The children are not able to associate with these beautiful paintings made on the wall because they've already seen dirt and filth all around them. And then you have an open-handed map hung on the wall, and the children are asked to correlate with this map hung on the wall, but the children are not able to because they've not ever seen that kind of a world. And because for these children, the windows, when they're sitting in the class, when they look outside, they can see that window, and out of the window, whatever they can see, that is their actual world. Whether all is futures painted with a fog, means they've got a blurred future, right? A narrow street sealed in with a lead sky, far, far from rivers, capes, and stars of words. These children are miles and miles away from nature. It's a narrow, thin street which is leading them to that school, and nobody wants to come there. Nobody wants to come there and see the kind of poverty they're living in. So these children absolutely are away, cut off from the entire world. Coming on to the third part, surely Shakespeare is wicked. The map, a bad example. Shakespeare is wicked. Why? Because they're not able to associate with the life and works of Shakespeare. And the map which is hung on the wall, it's a bad example because the children cannot associate with that kind of a world map. The ships and stunts tempting them to steal for lives that slightly turn in the cramped holes. They can only associate with the nature outside, the sun and the love of the brothers, which is tempting them to come out of the cramped holes. Cramped holes means these classroom which is cramped for space, from fog to endless night. I mean, is it something which will go on forever? Is there never going to be an end? Will they never have a better life? On the slag heap, these children wear skins peeped through by bones and spectacles of steel, with mended glass like bottle bits and stones. So these children, when they come out, they're absolutely poor. The wear, he says the children wear skins peeped through by bones. They're so thin, and it looks as if the bones are peeping out of the skin. And the spectacles which they wear, it's like mended glass. The glass of the spectacles is all broken, all cracks, but that is what they wear. And all of the time and space are foggy slum. That means all 24 by 7 they live the entire world there in that foggy slum. So blot the maps with slums as big as doom. The area where they live is so small, but for them it's a never ending world. Why? Because they will never ever be able to come out of it, and they know that is that area where they live, that is the confinement. They'll probably will never be able to come out of it. They will never be able to experience a better life. Now stands an inspector, visitor. This map becomes the windows, and these windows that shut upon the lives like catacombs. He says until the inspector or the governor or the general, they come and try to bring about a reformation in the kind of education that these children are receiving, nothing is going to change for them. This map will always become the windows, and they'll always be able to relate with this world like this. They will never be able to experience anything practically in their lives. And these classrooms, they're shutting upon the life like catacombs, like it's as if they're living in a tomb. The children, they're living in darkness, absolute darkness, and this classroom, it's not opening them to the outside world, it's shutting them. He says, break open till they break the town and show the children to the green fields. He said the children will learn only when they move out and experience the green fields. They'll explore nature and make the world run azure on gold sands, and let their tongue run naked into books. The white and green leaves open, history theirs whose language is the sun. He says these children need to go out, experience education with nature. They will not be able to gain any quality education by sitting in the classrooms and studying whatever is taught in the books. They'll have to go out and experience education when they're outside. Let them run on the gold sands. Let their tongues run naked into books. Run naked into books means teach them how to read. Once they learn how to read, education will never be a barrier for them. They can read and keep gaining education throughout their lives. The white and green leaves open. The white leaves refers to the symbolically means in the books, and the green leaves the nature. So education has to be correlated. History theirs whose language is the sun. It's been a witness. History has been a witness that whenever people have been able to associate themselves completely with education, only then they can bring about a change in their lives. Education cannot be given within the four walls, especially when you're teaching such children. It has to be made more relevant. Now these are the stanza wise explanations, children, which I've put forward just in case for reference. If you again wish to consult these explanations, you can. I've put it stanza wise. For the first stanza, the entire poem is divided into 4 stanzas. The first stanza explanation of the first stanza is also already provided here. Then for the second stanza, you can again go through it and then reflect back, read the second stanza, read that explanation of the second stanza in case if you do not understand. Then read the third stanza of the poem, and then read the explanation also, and then read the fourth stanza of the poem. Then again read the explanation. You will be able to understand it. But still, in case if you feel you're not able to understand it, you can always get back to me. You can call me. You can post your doubts in the mobile group as well. Children, it's a beautiful poem, highlighting the poverty of these students, who are living there. And we should feel privileged to be living in a society where we experience quality education all around us. When we compare ourselves to these students, we'll find that we are so much privileged, but we need to reach out to them and provide them the same education. Thank you, students. Thank you so much for being